There are poor people in Karen. There are people who serve the rich. So they are poor. And where do they live? Karen. Those people, after serving the rich, they don't be transported at night, and then they are dropped some places, and then they come in the morning. They are there. So you will meet them. Am I talking to anybody in this house? So you will meet them. I want you to understand now. This young man moves to the village. Say, life is a very easier in the village. Let me try, I will make it. People are saying, let me try this business. If this one is not working, let me try the other. If the city is not working, then I try the other. The problem may not be the city. The problem may not be the work. There must be something else. Before you change it, be sure the problem is the work. In the same lake, the lake of Galilee, where Peter and his colleagues would not catch even a single fish the whole night, the proper time for fishing. During the day when fish is supposed to run and hide, they were able to catch a big number that they have never gotten in their history. So the problem is not the sea. And the problem is not the fish. The problem is alignment. Who are you aligned with? Who are you aligned with? The man said, go and catch the fish. And he caught it. Because the man was proper. He was connected from the high authority. What kind of alignment are you working with? So the young man goes to the village, tries not to commit himself in the village, continues, and become very faithful in the church, in the village, because he was committed and born again. They would serve God together with his wife and the children. So one day, the pastor, they had a fellowship in the village. And now that day, the fellowship came to the place of this young man. And the pastor, walking in the Spirit of God, comes to the compound. Before they went and began the fellowship, there was a tree planted in that compound, and there were some things hanging on that tree. So, pastor was attracted to go nearer the tree and wanted to know. Then he felt there is some power. When you are sensitive by the Spirit of God, there are some places you will reach. And when you reach there, you will feel when there is power of God. You will feel when there is power of devil. You will feel. So the man of God was sensitive and started to see, something is wrong here. So what is this? So the man laughed. The young man just laughed. Told him, this is a tree. My father used to love it so much. He used to sit down here. He used to do some things here. When he described what the father was doing, the man of God connected. Hey, this is an altar. Then he asked him, when did your trouble begin? Immediately my father died. That is when I started seeing challenge. But after 3 years after his death, that's why everything was shut. Then he said, oh, now I know. This is an altar. The power that I've been servicing you from all your life came from this altar. The altar of God has never served you. And that is why you became weak. Immediately, the priest died. So what happened? They went into prayer. And they demolished the altar. And said, we now establish a new altar in the honor of God. And they prayed. Then after a few days, application he had made for 5 years, the company and refused. That's the time they got it. Application letter. Replied. Pending for 5 years. And then after a short time, his friend called him. He unpicked the letter. from his mailbox. And he told him, I have your letter. After the letter was sent to him, it was a letter to be called. It's an appointment letter to the place of work. And that is the beginning of his breakthrough in life. So he could not believe a tree that was established there by his father and what the father was doing would be the cause of his problem. It is not a tree. It was a spiritual link that was linking his life. Some of you, you have been born again for many years, but your eyes has never been open to know what kind of a spiritual force was introduced in your family lineage that is shaping your destiny or affecting the way you are living. Most of us saying Jesus paid everything on the cross, and that is why we are free. Let me tell you, he did not pay the price for you to continue in ignorance. He paid the price that you may be wise and you may understand the things that may be working contrary to your life. You have to bring some things down for you to be established in the Lord. And your eyes must open to know what kind of pattern, what kind of a program that my family is running on. What kind of a system that they were introduced to that is affecting my life, affecting my destiny, affecting everything that I am called to do in life. So if you don't challenge it, the forces that were invoked to work contrary to your life, they will continue working, and they will continue to destroy you. And you wouldn't be reduced to what you are not supposed to become. I pray in the name of Jesus that the Lord will rise in your case, that you will rise and begin to change some things on demonic altars, every place of invocation, every power of darkness that have been introduced to cities, to nations, to offices, in the mighty name of Jesus, that are working contrary to the life of the people of God. I declare in the name of Jesus, they have no authority in the name of Jesus. Now, even in a long time, in the worship, in the tradition, there were tradition shrines. That shrines were places of worship. They were altars, the high places, the mountains, the trees, like what people do in tradition. Those places were very important, and they were there for covenant benefits. So people were going there for covenant benefits. In some forests, in some road places, in some markets, in places where people now build houses. Some places were shrines. They were used to do some things. Some roads where roads are passing by. Some crossroads. There were some altars. The places you call black spots, and you don't see anything black, but people are dying there. You call it black spot because there is black power of darkness that is there. Remember, it was a place of offering sacrifices. The funny thing is this: if an altar is established in a place, animal blood was being poured there, and humans decide not to pour to sacrifice those animals, they abandon that way, then those gods will demand sacrifices, and they will take it from the humans who have refused to give sacrifices to them. So they will start taking the blood, and they will target the families and the people who are supposed to be giving them sacrifices, and they take their blood. They revenge. They hold them captives. That's why even generation. That's why Jeremiah says, our God, our fathers are dead, but their sins are with us. Sometimes you can be followed by things you don't understand. So those people were sacrificing animals. And then people refused to sacrifice. What happened? The blood of people is taken, either directly or indirectly. There are some families that they must bury a member of their family between August and July. Somebody must die. That's what time of sacrifice when you follow in history. They must die in December. That was time of sacrifice. They must die in a certain month. Either through accident, through any other way. Somebody can just collapse in a bathroom and die. And you don't understand how this person died. He was not sick. There was nothing wrong with him. All of a sudden he dies. And you must bury a person in every year, in every period, whether direct or indirect. Whether you bury a person who has been seen or on miscarriages. And some people do not see even miscarriages as the blood that has been demanded. So you see that certain patterns of death, patterns of sickness, patterns of demotion, patterns of divorce, patterns of losses, patterns. You see them occurring at certain specific time. When you reach 40 years in your family, this must happen to you. When you reach a certain stage, this must happen to you. And people know it when you arrive at that pattern. At that stage, there is a pattern. There is a program that already has been set. And when something is programmed, it follows the program. And this is the power of altar. And when it is invoked, it is the demons are invoked, or forces of darkness are invoked. They make people have a certain way of living. And then you will see those forces in operation. Those forces are working. Those forces are working. There are some families, they don't have their firstborns. In our family, firstborn was supposed to be sacrificed. In our family, firstborn is supposed to live. So you don't have a firstborn. Either you are bought or it dies. So when you follow in reality, nobody asks the real firstborn. When you follow in the reality, what do you call the firstborn? You know this was not my firstborn. You know, because that family is not allowed to have that. It's a cycle. It's something that moves. Now, as I finish, because I cannot finish on this for now, I met a certain man and a lady. And I taught them about the spiritual foundation in that conference. After I finished talking about the spiritual foundation in the lives of people, he followed me together with his wife. He told me again, if I had known what you have been teaching for some years, I would be a different man today. Then he told me, I was very rich. I was the tycoon of this area, controlling everything that happens. Until I developed and reached a level, I bought a premises and a business from one of the rich men in the nation. And he named him. If I name that person, everybody will know him. Especially those who come to those regions and they do business with those people. And he said, he gave me the business. And I bought it. And the man went to some other place to do business. Now, what happened? Few years after I took the business, I had a dream.